Thank you very much for being here this morning. My name is Jennifer Wood. I'm the director at the Rhode Island Center for Justice. And our nonprofit law center is very proud to represent the organizations and coalition arrayed on the steps behind me here today to demand full funding for the Providence Public Schools. I wanted to share with you that we're all very acutely aware that there is a national election tomorrow. And I think that we got some questions about, are you people crazy thinking that you're going to get coverage for school funding the day before a contested national election? And the answer is very aware, because we see these two things as inextricably linked. Because we're electing, for the first time in decades, elected school board members in the building behind us, for those of us that voted early. And we're really calling out for justice for the children in the public schools to get what they need and deserve. Our first speaker today is Naya Isam Agazi. She is a student at Providence Career and Technical Academy and a youth leader at Arise and Providence Student Union. Naya?
Hello, as you know, my name is Naya. I go to PCTA, I'm an 11th grader, and I'm here to talk about the inadequate funding for Providence schools. I think it's ridiculous I even have to be here. It's sad and disappointing. I think that my education matters, and I shouldn't have to constantly fight and pull teeth just to get funding that all of the students deserve. All my peers deserve to have the adequate funding. And every day that I walk into school, I'm shown that my education is seen as less than to the city. And it doesn't feel good. And I don't think that any kid deserves to feel that way. I'm sick of the Brent Smiley administration and the city trying to deflect off the fact that they've been underfunding PPSD from the beginning. The mayor would rather fund the police over the education of Black and brown youth, and that hurts. My education matters. My peers' education matters. Brent Smiley, if you really think that PPSD is misappropriating funds, then do the audit. That doesn't excuse the responsibility that you should be fully funding our schools. Do not punish the kids. As someone who lives within the 2-mile mark from my school, I'm ashamed to say that my school might take away my right to take the public transit to get to school, and I might have to walk. That's embarrassing. That a kid should have to walk for their education, 2 miles for their education? They wouldn't do that at North Providence. I used to go to North Providence, they wouldn't do that there. From the moment that I transferred to Providence from 8th grade, I've been shown what feeling like a second-class citizen has felt like, and it doesn't feel good. Many of my peers rely on track, and winter sports is getting taken away because of the inadequate funding, and that's a shame. As someone who also played track and cross country, this is a shame to say that some of the students might not have a chance to do their sport and go to college for their sport. Many kids are relying on scholarships from their winter sports to go to college, and they'll get that taken away. That's not fair. I shouldn't have to worry about the things that everybody else gets. East Providence gets, North Providence, everybody else gets it but Providence. That's not okay. The adults in power always are taking away inclusive classrooms and defunding many things that students need to learn. You're taking away teachers that we need. Students aren't learning. Many schools don't have the correct budgets. Many schools aren't able to properly help their students. As someone with a 504 plan, this affects me directly. I'm often seeing many of my favorite teachers getting taken away. I never feel truly supported, nor do I see fully seen. As Black and brown students look around at the teachers that they see and they don't feel represented, it affects us mentally, from the way that we walk into school, from the way that we act. When you go into our Providence public schools, you can see the discouraged faces on students' face. You can see how it really takes a mental toll on them. And I don't think that any of you guys would treat your kids like this. I don't think any of you would want to see your kids like this, nor would you accept that. So why are we accepting it for us? So why is Brett Smiley letting his kids fail? That's not okay. When are we going to realize that our kids, the kids that are in the system, me, I am a kid, I'm 16, I'm up here, I am out of school, I am currently missing attendance, I don't have perfect attendance because of things like this. And we'd rather focus on these small things instead of the things that really matter, our kids. The youth matter. And quite frankly, to take away many of the MLE, special education, 504s, and IEP students' needs is taking away their rights to just be students. If you really think about it, if you really sit there and think about it, and you wonder why we're not doing well, while we're not performing well, it's because we don't care. It's because we're not showing enough attention to the students. It starts with the students. It will end with the students. Students will be here before and after us. There will always be students. We need students. So why are we treating them less than? Sorry, this is a lot. I think it's a shame that I even have to be up here. Many schools are getting shut down. Many schools, public schools, are getting shut down, and we're being forced to be in crowded hallways, getting treated like zoo animals. Yes, I said it, like zoo animals. It feels like that from the moment you walk in. It feels like a cage that you want to get out from, that you're willing to escape by any means from. School shouldn't feel like that. We shouldn't feel like we're in jail. We shouldn't feel like we're struggling every day just to survive. We should feel like school should be a second home, and it doesn't feel like that. The city loves to disregard the students and the youth, and enough is enough. I don't care who did what, we need our money. It's that simple, that's the bottom line. Nothing else should be said. It doesn't matter what happened, who, you have been underfunding us from the beginning. Give us our money. What is happening? I don't get it. I really don't get it. There should be nothing else said but giving us our money. And for everybody that works at City Hall, I just want to ask you one thing. I don't know if your kids go to school at PCJ. I don't know if they go to school at Central, Classical. Would you let this happen to your kids? And if it's yes, I feel really bad for your kids. I feel really bad, okay? Because my mom would not let that happen. She let me out of school for this. Sacrifice had to be made, and I'm here. But I don't want to see any of my peers having to make that sacrifice. I don't want to see any of my younger cousins having to go through this. So I'm gonna end it off by saying, Brent Smiley, the city of Providence, and every adult in power do better, okay? And I don't want to be back up here, okay?
Thank you so much, Naya. Next, we're going to hear from Juan Soriano, who is a Central High School alum and program coordinator at Young Voices.
Hello everyone, thank you for having me. Thank you for being out in this cold weather. My name is Swan. I'm currently a program coordinator at a nonprofit called Young Voices. And I'm also an alumni of PPSD, having graduated from Central High School in 2020. And I'm just here today to ask the city of Providence to fully fund PPSD, because this has been an issue that has been going on for way too long. And it's really sad to me that after 4 years of graduating from PPSD, that these issues are still going on and not much has been done. And I want to just talk about my experience at PPSD, having gone through all the way from elementary to high school, all the way in PPSD. I want to start my experience from the very beginning in kindergarten. So when I was in kindergarten, I got placed in ESL classes even though I can speak perfect English. And while this is like its own issue of its own, I saw a couple of issues due to this that really that continued all the way throughout my high school career, high school journey. And the really big issue that I've always had is that PPSD has always underfunded ESL and ELL programs, and they've never fully supported students that speak multiple languages or that English isn't their first language. And I saw this firsthand when I was in kindergarten. And you know it's an issue when at 6 years old I have to translate for some of my fellow classmates because the teachers don't speak any other language than English. And I've always heard the same thing of when I was in high school, I can vividly remember a teacher saying that they were moved into an ESL class just because there wasn't enough teachers that could properly teach ESL, or that none of the teachers are like ESL or ELL trained, and nothing has ever been done about it. And this is the thing that I've seen throughout my whole PPSD journey. I've seen students be set up for failure because teachers will just hand them out papers and never do anything other than just trying to teach them because they're not properly trained. And this isn't the fault of the teachers, this is the fault of the district because they aren't willing to put the funds to either properly train teachers or properly hire teachers that either know multiple languages, that are trained in ESL or ELL programs. And this has just been a thing that has continued. This doesn't even touch on most of the issues that PPSD has faced because of lack of funding. For example, classical has been falling apart for years, and students are always talking about how there's holes in their ceilings, how the building is literally falling down, how they can't use certain classrooms because of like the buildings falling apart. When I was in Central High School, there was literal mold in our school, and one side of the school had to be shut down because there was mold, and nothing would be done about it until they just kind of let it go away, and not much was ever done because honestly they just didn't care enough, in my opinion. And stuff like this has been going on for way too long, and now students are at risk of losing a lot more stuff because of these budget cuts. I hear a lot of talk about chronic absenteeism and how big of an issue is, but yet we're gonna do stuff like increase the bus limit and make sure that students don't get bus passes anymore, which is gonna add to the chronic absenteeism. We talk about students not being engaged in school and not wanting to be in school, and then we fire their favorite teacher. Like, it doesn't make sense. We talk about students not having school spirit or not wanting to go to school, and then we're going to potentially cut after-school programming and sports. And these are two things that are very important for students for many reasons. For some people, it's just an escape from home. Sometimes they just want to do it. Sometimes they don't even want to do a sport as like a career or anything, and they just want to do like JV sports. They just want to have something. They just want to have some type of exercise. They just want to do that, and that's fine. Some people use that as a stepping stone to get into college, to either get scholarships, to put it on their college resume, and stuff like that. And I feel like we're just constantly putting students at the back foot, and we're just never fully supporting them. And even after-school programming, a lot of these after-school programmings help ignite students' talents and just kind of show them, it allows them to have stepping stones into their future, and we're just never doing anything about this. And I always hear, we have students at Young Voices that are constantly going to the State House, that are going to school board meetings. We have adults that are constantly going to the State House school board meetings and are advocating for these funds, and we always hear the same thing. We're trying our best. This is all that we can do. We're in a tough situation, and if I'm being completely honest, your best is not enough. We need you to do better. We need the mayor, we need Mayor Smiley to do better. We need the superintendent to do better. We need the school board to do better. We need everybody to do better, because your best is just honestly not enough. We're failing our students, and we have continued to fail our students, and it's just gonna continue to get worse and worse if we don't do anything about it. And that's all I really have to say today. I just really urge the city and urge everybody that has a position in power to first off listen to our students when they talk, listen to their concerns that they're bringing up, that they've been bringing up for years, and nothing has ever been done about it. I just need you to really, really take into account the success of our students and just do your best to support them in any way that you can. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Juan. And next we're going to hear from Guadalupe Clemente. She is the parent of a student at Del Sesto Middle School.
Buenos días a todos.
Good morning, everyone.
Antes que nada, quiero agradecer a los demás padres, estudiantes y organizaciones comunitarias presentes por estar aquí esta mañana y mostrar su apoyo.
First of all, I want to thank the other parents, students, and community organizations here for being present and for showing their support.
Mi nombre es Guadalupe Clemente, soy madre de una estudiante del Distrito Escolar de Providence, donde he vivido durante más de 15 años. Soy una madre líder de Padres Líderes por la Equidad Educativa, PLI.
My name is Guadalupe Clemente. I'm a parent of a student in the Providence School District where I've lived for the past 15 years. I'm a parent leader with Parent Leaders for Educational Equity.
Hoy estoy aquí para expresar mi firme apoyo al aumento propuesto de $10.9 millones por parte de la ciudad de Providence para nuestras escuelas públicas.
I am here today to express my strong support for the proposed $10.9 million increase by the City of Providence for our public schools.
Esta inversión es esencial para asegurar que nuestros hijos continúen teniendo acceso a programas deportivos, a los pases de autobuses para estudiantes que vivan a 1 milla o más de la escuela, y para nuestros maestros puedan recibir la capacitación y el reembolso de los costos de certificación que necesitan para el desarrollo profesional, especialmente la enseñanza a estudiantes multilingües.
This investment is essential to ensure that our children continue to have access to sports, bus passes for students who live a mile or more from school, and that our teachers can receive training and reimbursement for certification costs they need for professional development, especially in teaching multilingual learners.
Durante décadas, nuestro distrito no ha recibido los fondos que nuestros hijos merecen, y esto ha impedido que muchos estudiantes tengan acceso a los recursos y programas necesarios para alcanzar su máximo potencial.
For decades, our district has not received the funding our children deserve, and this has prevented many students from accessing the resources and programs necessary to reach their full potential.
Como madre de un estudiante que ha recibido servicios multilingües, me preocupa profundamente el recorte en el presupuesto del reembolso para la certificación de educadores de estudiantes multilingües.
As a parent of a student who has received multilingual services, I'm deeply concerned about the cut in the reimbursement budget for multilingual learner educator certification.
Si se elimina este reembolso, el distrito ya no cubrirá los costos necesarios para que nuestros maestros obtengan la certificación y el desarrollo profesional que son esenciales para apoyar a los estudiantes multilingües de manera efectiva.
If this reimbursement is eliminated, the district will no longer cover the costs necessary for our teachers to obtain the certification and professional development essential to effectively support multilingual learners.
Esto no solo es injusto para los educadores, quienes ya enfrentan muchos retos y sacrificios personales para mejorar su capacidad de enseñar, sino que también impacta directamente a los estudiantes.
Not only is this unfair to educators who already face many challenges and personal sacrifices to improve their ability to teach, but it also directly impacts MLL students.
Sin el apoyo adecuado, podríamos ver una desaceleración en el progreso para satisfacer sus necesidades y los avances que hemos logrado bajo acuerdo con el Departamento de Justicia para mejorar los servicios para los estudiantes estarían en grave peligro.
Without adequate support, we could see a slowdown in the progress to meet their needs, and the gains we have made under the agreement with the Department of Justice to improve services for these students would be in jeopardy.
Esto representaría una barrera adicional para nuestros estudiantes más vulnerables y contradiría todos nuestros esfuerzos para garantizar la educación verdaderamente equitativa.
This would represent an additional barrier for our most vulnerable students and would contradict all of our efforts to guarantee them a truly equitable education.
Este financiamiento adicional tendrá un impacto directo a nuestra comunidad.
This additional funding will have a direct impact on our community.
Al recibir este apoyo económico, continuaremos teniendo los recursos necesarios para ofrecerles a nuestros hijos una educación más enriquecedora y accesible.
By receiving this financial support, we will continue to have the necessary resources to offer our children a more enriching and accessible education.
Como madre, les incito a unirse a mí para apoyar esta inversión crucial de $10.9 millones en la educación de nuestros hijos.
As a mother, I urge you to join me in supporting this crucial $10.9 million investment in our children's education.
Ese es el momento de demostrar el valor que el alcalde y los miembros del Consejo Municipal le otorgan al futuro de nuestros jóvenes.
This is the time to demonstrate the value that the mayor and council members place on the future of our young people.
Una vez más, Les dirijo a nuestros funcionarios electos, al alcalde Brett Smiley y a los miembros del Consejo Municipal.
Once again, I turn to our elected officials, Mayor Brett Smiley and the members of the City Council.
Como madre de una estudiante de las escuelas de Providence, les pregunto, ¿qué mensaje desean ustedes enviar a mi hija y a los demás estudiantes y a familiares sobre el valor y el compromiso que tienen en su futuro?
As the parent of a student in Providence schools, I ask you, what message do you wish to send to my daughter and to other students and families about the value and commitment you have to their future?
Ese es el momento de demostrar con hechos y con inversión si realmente estamos dispuestos a priorizar el bienestar y el éxito de nuestros hijos. Yo, mi hija y miles de familias más esperamos su respuesta.
Now is the time to demonstrate with actions and investment whether we are truly willing to prioritize the well-being and success of our children. I, my daughter, and thousands of other families await your response.
Gracias.
Thank you, Guadalupe. And now we'll hear from Peter Chung, the parent of a student at Martin Luther King Elementary School and director of Young Voices.
Good morning, everybody. My name's Peter Chung. I'm a parent of Providence Public Schools. My child is in the 4th grade at Dr. Martin Luther King Junior Elementary School. I'm the executive director of Young Voices, an organization that works directly with high school age youth to elevate youth voice in policies and decisions that directly impact them. And I'm also a parent organizer with PLEA. I'm here to demand that our school district receive the necessary funding to keep our paraprofessionals in our classrooms. Our children continue to receive their bus passes and access to their sports programs. The fact is, the city has a legal obligation to fund our schools, and the reality is that it has not paid its fair share. The pattern of practice is that the city has subsidized our children's education to pay for other things. If you agree that our public schools have been underfunded for decades, then every argument after that is moot. Our students, families, and schools cannot bear the burden of any additional cuts to the 24-25 school year. We are demanding that the $10.9 million request be fully funded. Students, parents, organizations, residents, community members, myself included, came out to testify in the spring to increase the funding allocation by $15 to $20 million. Yet, we only saw an increase of $2.5 million then, and now an offering of $2.5 million. How is it that we, the community, figured out the deficit, yet our leaders asking questions about why this wasn't clear in the proposals by the district? If you're a city that listens to its residents, then it baffles me why you didn't prioritize our voice. Last year, the city conducted a survey to understand what is important to its residents. The results were clear. 59% of respondents were dissatisfied with public education, and 43% was dissatisfied with public safety. Yet, the city-approved budget did not reflect these concerns. It included a $35 million increase for public safety, but a $3 million increase for public education. We should note, though, that our public education is also public safety. Engaged students leads to thriving learners, to invested citizens, professionals, and a stronger workforce. As a parent, I cannot look at my child and feel affirmed that his school system will support his academic success in his K-12 journey. As an ally to the youth we serve, how can I honestly advise them about their aspirations when they are shortchanged year in and year out because of underfunding? And as a tax-paying resident of this city, I'm losing trust in our leaders' ability to serve this great city. We cannot expect greatness when we continue to strip the resources from our public schools. So in closing, to the City of Providence, Mayor Smiley, City Council, your maintenance of effort is insufficient, and students and families of this city continue to suffer. And I echo the message of Naya earlier. Please do better. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. We have parents and students available for any questions from the media if you have any. Yes.
Hi, I'm Steph Machado from the Globe. I have a question for students. Do you put the blame solely on the folks here at City Hall? Do you have any message for the district leaders who are proposing the cuts?
So I'll repeat the question. Students, when you think about this problem, are you putting the blame on City Hall, or are you also looking at the leaders in the school department? And if you could speak into all the mics.
Hello, I'm Theo Vila. I don't put the blame on one sole person. This is a reoccurring problem. This is something that did not happen all at once, so this blame cannot fall on one sole person or program. I think that this is from a bunch of people's poor decisions leading up to it getting this bad.
Additional questions? Yes.
So just to kind of clarify, do you guys believe that the city should pick up the entire tab or at least pay for a portion of it?
We're being asked whether people believe that the city should pick up the entire tab or a portion of it.
I was gonna say, it's kind of like, imagine if we all went out to dinner, right? And everybody else orders water, right? I order a buffet, like the whole thing, right? Are you guys gonna pay for my tab? Are y'all gonna pay for? No. They've been underfunding. The city has been underfunding us from the very beginning. You know, they've been doing it from the very beginning, and for them to deflect off of, oh well, they did this and this, that shouldn't matter. You know what I mean? If they really care about their students, they would pay the whole thing. They would just pay the whole thing. This wouldn't have gotten that far if they really cared. So even when it came to your question about do we put sole blame, but I think the deflecting really makes it really hard to even, be like, you're not even taking accountability for, the wrongs you've done to this community. So, and it's crazy. So it just shows how much you don't care, and then you don't want to take accountability, and then you want to keep underfunding us. So then it's like, and then you want to cut so many things that you wouldn't personally cut for your own kid. Would you make your own kid walk 2 miles to school? I wouldn't. I run track, I run 3 miles. I wouldn't want to run 2 miles to school, being late every day, being late. I wouldn't want to have, teachers go away that I really connect with. So to say that the city is somehow a victim in this, I feel like a lot of times we make it seem like that, and they're not. They've been underfunding us. They know what they're doing. They have all of this in front of them. They see it, but they fail to recognize it, and not even just that, they fail to take accountability. And I think that's really what makes a lot of people upset. And we're holding them accountable, and you can tell that they don't like that because they're deflecting. And that's a tail sign when someone doesn't like something. When you deflect off of your wrongs, that just shows how guilty you are.
And I think we have another response to that question.
Hi, my name is Maria. I go to Classical High School. And picture this. Last year, I was in the hallway at school walking with my friend to history class. And Classical was still doing construction at this time. And we're walking, and a girl in front of us, water just comes out of the ceiling and splashes on her completely. And it's not just a droplet, it's full-blown a stream of water. That's the kind of education we're having these days. And I think that it's important that we need to fully fund these schools because things like this are happening. And, there's no one to fix it otherwise. So I think we should be fully funding these schools. We should do everything we can to support these students because we're actively in a danger zone in school all the time. And we shouldn't be adding on more danger just because of the fact that we don't want to fund these schools. That you walk in the hallway, you have the risk of something falling on you, something collapsing on you. It's things like this that show that we need more funding in school. So I think that we should be paying all of it. No more half of anything.
Any other questions? People will be here if you have one-on-one conversations, and I think in summary you've heard the words of the people directly affected. Rome is burning, people. The time is now. The community is saying, adult decision makers, yes, you must continue to pursue litigation. You must continue to pursue all of the processes at the State House. But in the meantime, these students need what they need now, and that cannot be deferred. And we're calling upon all adults in a decision-making and authority position of power to come together and, while pursuing other avenues, solve problems starting today.